Hi everybody, this is Julie with You to Be Healthy, coming to you today again with Tuesday Tips at 10, where we offer some wonderful advice and hopefully you guys can learn something, and at the end we'll give you a free giveaway. Alright, well let's get right into it, okay? Tests have to start on time, so I'm going to give you a short quiz and let's see how you do. There are a lot of misconceptions about the cold and flu, and I'm going to give you a short quiz to see if you can answer these questions. So I've got my notes here to keep me on track. Let's see how you do. Now these are true or false questions, so the answer will be true or false. Here we go. Number 1, getting wet in the rain will make you sick. True or false? Getting wet in the rain will make you sick. The answer is false. There's no evidence that the damp, cold weather and the risk of getting a cold are related. Modern science just doesn't support the fact of getting cold and then getting chilled to getting a cold or getting the flu. However, we've all had that time where we got like wet and then cold and chilled and then whammo, we just got sick. So what gives? Well, your immune system was already compromised by being exposed to a virus earlier. So when your body had to work really hard to try to keep your temperature regulated when you got chilled, it just lowered your immune system even farther. So that took away from those special fighting forces that make you susceptible to viruses. So while getting cold and getting chilled didn't, quote, make you sick, it helped contribute to it by lowering your defenses. So best way to do that is prevent getting wet, getting chilled if possible, but if you do get caught out in the elements, take the necessary steps to get dry, get warm, and then consume healthy food. This is where wonderful homemade chicken noodle soup comes in handy. And then you want to consume supplements that build up your immune system. All right? Number 2, flu is a virus, cold is a bacteria. True or false? Flu is a virus, cold is a bacteria. False. Both cold and flu are viruses. There are well over 200 different strains of the cold virus, with the rhinovirus, I believe, being the most common. And then flu viruses can mutate and change every year. So, however, both the flu and the cold can transform into a bacterial infection, so you want to see your doctor if your symptoms last longer than 7 to 10 days or they worsen. Okay, so again, they're both viruses, and then but they can lead to bacterial infections. Okay, number 3, antibiotics are no help for the cold or flu. It's a little trick question here. Antibiotics are no help to the cold or flu. The answer is true. The wording was a little tricky. The key was no help. Both the common cold and the flu are the result of a virus. So antibiotics are not going to help with viruses. They're designed for bacterial infections only. So they're not going to reduce the severity or the duration of a cold or the flu at all. So don't go into your doctor's office at the first sign of getting sick and demand an antibiotic. It's not going to help you any. And what's worse is because antibiotics kill all the bacteria in your gut, both the good and the bad, you are now more susceptible to getting a virus. So if you take an antibiotic and you're exposed to a virus and you don't have a bacterial infection, which that antibiotic was designed for, you're going to actually could possibly get sicker from the virus because you have no good guys left to fight the bad guys, if that makes any sense. So don't go into a doctor's office and say, I have the flu, I want an antibiotic. For one, a good doctor is not going to give it to you. A good doctor will know that you have a viral infection and that an antibiotic is counterintuitive and won't give it to you. So you're going to waste your copay or whatever you have to pay for your doctor visit, just a waste of money, and you could have been at home resting up. So make sure that you're not trying to demand something that is going to actually harm you. And in this case, antibiotics are no help for cold or flu viruses. Okay? So moving on. Oh, to add to that though, now on occasion a doctor will prescribe an antibiotic after you've had a cold or flu, and that's in case you've developed a secondary bacterial infection. Now that can happen. where you've had the cold, a really bad cold, or you've had the flu, and now you may have like an ear infection or sinusitis or worse, a bronchitis. In that case, they will prescribe antibiotics because now you no longer have the virus, but now you have a bacterial infection. So in that case, you do want to definitely see your doctor if your symptoms worsen or your symptoms last longer than a week, okay? Because at that point, you may be full-blown into a bacterial infection and need an antibiotic. Antibiotics are wonderful. They've saved lots of lives, countless lives. I'm not against them. I'm just against misuse or abusing them, okay? All right, number 4. Once you have the flu, you will not have it again that season. Question. Once you have the flu, you will not have it again that season. The answer is actually both true and false. You won't get the same cold or flu strain once you've had it, but you could get a different strain. There are multiple colds and flu strain viruses circulating all at the same time. So it's very possible to have one and then get the other. So that's why you hear people say, well, I just had the flu, and a month later they're getting it again. It's because they're getting 2 different strains. And this is probably why the reason that the flu shot is not 100% effective. It's only effective against one strain, and there's always a possibility of another flu strain that's out there. There are often multiple strains out there, so you're not going to always get the same strain affecting you. And flu viruses can mutate. And I'll give you a really quick brief background on the flu shot. I'm not against a flu shot, but I'm not saying you should get it. I'm not saying you shouldn't get it. And that's really a personal experience, discussion you need to have with your doctor. But just understand that when scientists develop the flu vaccine for the coming season, that's like a year in advance. Okay, they have to take their best educated guess at what they feel is the most prevalent strain that's going to affect this population in this area a year from now. And they're going to sit there and decide, okay, we feel that this strain is going to be the most biggest culprit. So then they have to develop the vaccine, get it approved, get it formulated, and get it to the masses. That takes time. And in that time frame, the flu virus may decide, you know what, I think I'm going to throw out into the world a different strain. Or when that strain does develop, because it's being passed from host to host to host in so many different methods, it can mutate. So it could actually end up being its own strain than what it originally had developed in the beginning, if that makes any sense. So again, I'm not saying you shouldn't get this shot. I'm not saying you should get the shot. I'm not going to get into that battle, but just understand that the flu is a moving target, and doctors do their best, scientists do their best to try to hit that target with the flu shot. But because it's such a moving, mutating target, it's a very hard target to hit. So don't complain when you go ahead and get the flu shot and then 2 weeks later you get the flu. It wasn't a shot that gave you the flu. You could just have a different strain. All right, so I just want to clarify that with some people. Okay, let's see, where did I leave off? Okay, so the biggest way to prevent getting sick is building up your immune system so it can be ready to defend you no matter what strain is going to be hitting you. All right, now moving on to the next question. Number 5, the flu is harmless. True or false? The flu is harmless. True or false? The answer is false. The flu is far from harmless. Most of us come through it pretty unscathed, but according to CDC, in a normal year, somewhere between 3,000 and 49,000 people die from the flu. That's a huge spread, because we often know that the flu isn't always reported, but it can depend on the severity, the spread, the type of flu virus it is, and everything. But that's a huge, large number of people. And I know this is 100 years ago, but it's still potentially prevalent today. Is in 1918, approximately 675,000 people in the United States in 1 year died from the Spanish flu. And the only reason I'm mentioning that is it has the potential to become an epidemic. So we need to do all we can to prevent getting the flu. And then once we get it, to really take care of ourselves, and then to go to the doctor if your symptoms worsen. I'm big on don't play doctor. you know, take care of yourself, but know when to go to the doctor or when to take your child to the doctor, because the flu is dangerous. It can be, especially for the very young and the very old, or those whose immune systems are compromised, like say through chemotherapy or radiation. You don't want to mess around with that. Okay, but again, it's another reason to make sure your immune system is healthy by exercising, eating healthy food, drinking lots of good filtered water, and supplementing with those extra immune boosting supplements, especially during the cold and flu season. All right, we're almost done. Number 6, you are only contagious when you have symptoms. You are only contagious when you have symptoms. False. You can actually be contagious before you even feel any symptoms. And this is why colds and flu can spread so rapidly. We can be in close contact with people who don't even show any signs of sickness. I mean, your coworker over there, she could sneeze one time and look fine, feel fine, and she could just sneeze all that flu virus right onto you as she's standing over your desk. So when you have a cold, you're the most contagious during the first 3 days of getting that cold, kind of like the sore throat phase. And with the flu, you're more apt to spread it within 5 to 7 days of when the symptoms first came on. So obviously you're more contagious right when you feel bad, but you can actually be really contagious right before you feel bad. And this is why I remember when we worked in offices with a bunch of other people, I remember one time coming back from lunch and some sick coworker is sitting at my desk talking to his girlfriend on my phone, and I could have just died. I was just like, get away from my phone, get away from my desk, drop my pen. And I had to wipe and disinfect everything down, and I wanted to take the phone cord and strangle him, you know, because when people are sick in the office, you're like, please stay away from me, and I'll, you know, and you just want to spray them with disinfectant. But because it's so prevalent, I mean, you're in close quarters, and it's dry, and everybody's hacking and coughing, and you're just like, I just don't want to get it. So this is why, again, it's very important we build our immune system up. So, and how you get it is people, they cough, they sneeze into their hands, and then they touch something, and then you touch it, and then you touch your eyes, you touch your nose, you touch your mouth, you eat your lunch, you know, handles, doorknobs, whatever, and boom, you have it. And that's why our kids get it, because they're touching everything, and then they stick their fingers in their mouth, and you're just like, get your hands away from your face. I'm always telling my son, please get your hands away from your face. So washing hands often and avoid touching your face is really clearly the most effective way to prevent from getting sick. All right, last question. Number 7, kids get more colds and flu than adults. True or false? Kids get more colds and flu than adults. True. True. According to the CDC, adults have an average of 2 to 3 colds per year. Young children may get as many as 8 to 10 each year before the age of 2. We all know children who seem to be always sick. And that's a whole nother talk show, which we may have someday. But unfortunately, children's immune systems, especially the very young, are still developing. This makes them more susceptible to what's going around, because their immune systems are still learning to identify the bad guys. You know, they're still developing and still learning. So the best way to help kiddos stay healthy is feed them really good, healthy food, limit the sugar-filled food and drinks, keeping them hydrated with mostly water, no fruit juice. I'm not sure how manufacturers and marketers have brainwashed parents into thinking that 100% fruit juice is real healthy. It's not. Give them the real fruit. Give them the apple instead of apple juice. Give them the orange instead of orange juice. I'm not saying they can never have it. It's kind of like a soda pop. But it's got as much sugar or more sugar than a lot of pop does. And most of them contain artificial dyes, colors, sweeteners. And they don't need to label it that they have them in there. And by the way, just so you know, 100% natural is not natural. In order to be labeled natural, it only needs 12% of the ingredients to be natural. My wood desk is natural. Okay, so don't fall for that claim of when you see natural on the label. It only needs, by law, only needs 12% for them to put the name natural on the label. So make sure you understand that you're giving your kids water. And I know kids are like, well, I don't want water because it's boring. There's wonderful ways that you can add flavor to water without adding the chemicals to it. So stay away from fruit juices. Don't fall into that trap of believing that they're healthy. They're not. So make sure you're giving them water, feeding them healthy foods with lots of clean fruits and vegetables, and then providing them immune boosting supplements as well. And think about it, they go to school and they're in a petri dish of germs. I mean, just think there's 30 kids in a class, and then, I don't know about you, but have you ever witnessed the lunchroom? That's enough to make you kind of lose your cookies, because they're all sitting together, and they sit real close together, and they're putting their fingers in their mouth, you know, they're sticking their food in their mouth, and they're licking their fingers, and then they reach over, and they touch the other kid's lunch, who then sticks it in his mouth. And then they'll touch each other's hands, and they're touching the tables, and they're touching the chairs, and the adults, you know. And then the lunch boxes. You can almost, the lunch boxes go into this giant bin, and they all touch each other. And they're all laying on top of each other. And then they all come home in the backpack. And guess what the kid does when he comes home? He puts the lunch box on your kitchen counter. And you can almost watch the germs disembark off the lunchbox and onto your kitchen counter and your sink and everywhere else. So keep that in mind, that kids live and go to school in a petri dish of germs, and they bring that home. So the best thing we can do for them is build their immune systems up so they can have a protective shield around them as much as possible. So basically that's it. The other tips I would say for kids is have them play outside often. Staying cooped up indoors is just not healthy for anyone. I know it's really cold and damp out right now. Kids need outdoor time for both mental and physical health. And so dress them in layers appropriate for the weather, and then shoo them out the door and let them be kids. And you know what? It's good for us to get out there with them. Just dress up in warm layers and get out there in the air. You'd be surprised how good that is for the immune system. But staying indoors is just all the time isn't healthy. All right, now we're done with our quiz. I wondered how you did. Did you pass? Did you get some of them right? Did you get none of them right? And that's okay. That's okay. We're not here to judge by any means. But did you notice how there's a theme? It's called boosting your immune system. It was exercise, eat healthy foods, and then you want to add good immune boosting supplements. So healthy foods, we all know what they are. They're fresh fruits and vegetables, lean protein, and plenty of filtered water. Avoid the high sugar, highly processed foods and drinks as much as possible. Shop the perimeter of the store, and stay away as much as possible from the interior of the store. So when you go to the grocery, shop the perimeter as much as possible, and only duck into those couple aisles in the middle for the things you absolutely have to have. Some immune boosting supplements would be a complete and balanced multivitamin. I believe the multivitamin, multimineral is your foundation, and that's what you build upon. So you always want to start there with one that's balanced, is complete, and is safe. And then some other immune boosting supplements would be vitamin C, garlic, zinc, and then I highly recommend probiotics, especially this time of year, because a healthy gut means a healthy immune system. All right, and then some supplements are better suited depending on your age, your gender, if you are under any medical care, like you're taking certain medications or you're facing a certain health challenge, and that's where I come in. I'm as a consultant, I can help you pick whatever supplements that work best for you based on your needs. Make sure they're safe if you're taking any medications, and then I also find ways to help you do that and save money and save time and such, so you get more bang for your buck. Oh, great. That's pretty much it. I hope you guys learned something today. Remember, knowledge is power, and the more you know, the healthier you will be. And today's free giveaway is our Vitalized Immunity Sample. It is a wonderful little product that is, in the race world here, we like to call it a shot of nitrous for your immune system. It's wonderful if you know you're going into an environment where you're going to be like bombarded with viruses. Like, say, a parent going to help at the school Christmas party, and you're going to have 30 kids coughing and hacking on you. Or you're taking a flight home, and we all know it's like to be on an enclosed airplane with everybody just coughing and hacking. Okay, so Vitalized Immunity is a wonderful little product that just is a big boost to your immune system, and it comes in a little tablet, and you just drop it into some water, and it plop plop fizzes, and it just is a wonderful warm little orange drink that just is, I think you're really gonna love. So I'm gonna give that away as our free giveaway. If you're joining us on replay, because I know people work this time of day, make sure you type in the comments that you're watching on replay, and if you want our Vitalized Immunity, make sure you let us know either through message or in our comments below. We'll make sure we get that out to you as long as supplies last. That is one item that tends to fly off the shelf, especially this time of year. As always, get with us if you have any questions, and thank you for joining us. Have a great day. Take care.